members fell off cause they didn't know the ledge, cause they heads got gassed up. They still ain't got no drive, I'ma ride till I crash it. I slow cause, bro, I got a lot on my mind. That's why I'm quick to give you pieces when I'm jotting my lines. Still grinding at the drop of a dime, trying to rob the world for every single shit. I owe a lot to my moms, and I ain't stopping till I change it for my 5 little sisters. Cause the view from their window consists of strippers and hookers, and all my brothers see is the pushers, hustlers, and killers. So I walk down blocks as if the sun ain't called me nigga. Mad at the world, but now it told me it was mine right before halftime. But it's fourth quarter and we just getting it, lying for the benefits. I told you if I wrote it, I'm sticking with every
Deals. And Bonds hits one high. It's a deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone. Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining, and they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. Stacks on Stacks on Stacks Lats. Joined, as always, with my guy every Sunday night, every Tuesday night, Mr. Big Ballin' Ben.
Yeah, shit breaking over here. I don't know what's going on.
Damn, what happened?
Oh, just my dongle fell off.
Oh. How we doing tonight, Ben?
Yeah. Doing well, man. It's Sunday, getting those Sunday scaries. Got to go back to the work week tomorrow, which is never fun, but hey.
Yeah, apparently the stock market is crashing right now as we speak.
Yeah, I did see something about that.
I guess Japan and South Korea have like halted trading and not looking too good for tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Usually, I'm no stock market expert, so
crypto's hella far down too.
Yeah, it's been crashing like all weekend. There's like I'm not a stock market expert by any stretch of the imagination, but apparently what I've read is that speculation of like Fed cuts and etc. So you know how the market reacts to those things. But we're not here to talk about the stock market. We're here to talk sports. We got a lot of Major League Baseball going on. We got football coming up. We had the first preseason NFL game happen this last week, Ben. Obviously the trade deadline came and went. We had some big series happen this last weekend that have a lot of speculation for good look forward for the rest of the season. So we'll see. We'll talk about all that. We'll wrap it all together and kind of figure it all out. But yeah, man, excited to be here. Excited to talk some sports. Get our minds off the stock market.
Yeah.
But let's start it off with obviously I want to kind of give a little moment to the Olympics. Scotty Scheffler won gold today in golf, which was huge.
Huge round. Yeah.
Congratulations to him.
Just 62.
Oh yeah, dude. I thought after Friday there was no chance he was gonna medal, let alone win gold, because he was horrible on Friday, and Saturday he had a good round, and then today, I mean, the back nine was just unbelievable. I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I turned on the golf, and John Rahm was up by like 2 strokes. I fall asleep and I wake back up at like 7, And John Rahm is like, he like just double bogeyed and bogeyed the 2 holes in a row. I was like, hold on, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
It was a wild event. And, the PGA Tour obviously doesn't stop in France, so Les National course, which is the course they were playing at, very unfamiliar territory. They did have the Ryder Cup there, I believe, in like 2016. So a couple guys had experienced that course, but for the most part, no one had experienced it, and it kind of showed throughout the tournament. But yeah, it's was dope. And then Noah Lyles winning the 100-meter gold for the U.S. That was huge. So shout out to Noah Lyles. It's been a pretty good Olympics, man. Have you tapped into anything?
Yeah, I've been watching a decent amount. A lot of it's been kind of recorded, so I'm not watching it
Yeah.
kind of live as we speak. I've been watching a little bit of the swimming, um, watching Stanford's own win fucking gold by like 8 miles, which has been fun in Ledecky there. Watched a couple basketball games. Watched a couple. I didn't watch any of the gymnastics, but
Damn.
I probably should have.
Yeah, Simone
But
Biles went crazy.
yeah, I know she's absolutely nuts. But I haven't turned it on when it's been on. So
Yeah, I mostly
that's
only like
been
watch it at night, but
yeah,
I've caught some beach volleyball, which has
yeah.
been
I've
cool.
watched them. The little
Uh,
like 5'6" girl is hella funny.
yeah, I haven't caught any women's beach volleyball. I caught a lot of the men's beach volleyball.
Okay,
I caught some table tennis, some rugby sevens. Obviously, we talked about
the
this.
rugby's been fun. Yeah,
I don't know the rules, but it's fucking interesting to say the least. What else have I watched? I watched a couple other things, but yeah, mostly just golf and basketball. But lately, because it's on, like, you watch it like 24/7. The Olympics, obviously, it's like replays and stuff, but I just like flip it on when I'm like falling asleep and shit. So it's like on throughout the night, and I wake up at periods of the night, and I just start
yeah.
watching some random ass fucking sport that's on, like handball or something.
Mm.
But that's the Olympics. That's what I love about the Olympics, man. That's a dope thing. It used to be you just put on MSNBC during the Olympics, and it was just fucking Olympics all the 24/7. It was like the random
Yeah.
shit. But it's a good thing about having the Olympics, man. There's always something on. So
Yep.
that's been dope. Let's talk some baseball though. Obviously we got a lot of baseball to hit on and to talk about. The Cleveland Guardians and the Orioles had a series this weekend, a battle of the two best records in all of baseball. They split 2-2. The Guardians won the first 2 games of the series, and the Orioles won the last 2 games of the series. Jackson Holliday, he's here to stay, man. He's back, bro. He's hit 2 home runs
Hitting dingers, yeah.
in 5 games since he's been called up. He's hitting over 300, on base percentage of almost 400. So Jackson Holliday looks like he's here to stay. Eloy Jimenez also, since getting traded to the Orioles, batting 800. I mean, the guy, I feel like every time I turn around, the guy has a fucking another hit, dude. Like,
Yep.
he's having a little career resurgence here. The Yankees, obviously, they're tied with the Orioles for first place right now, so both are technically leading the wild card too. The Yankees have been pretty hot, 7-3 in their last 10. They won 2 straight against the dog shit Blue Jays. The Minnesota Twins just took 3 against the White Sox. The White Sox have lost 20 games in a row.
20 in a row. Yep.
Major league
AL record is 21, so they could hit that tomorrow.
Yep. They have 27 wins. They're on pace for the worst season in Major League Baseball history. The worst season. The Mariners took 2 out of 3 against the Philadelphia Phillies this weekend. The Phillies were on a 6-game losing streak heading into the day. They snap it. They're 2-8 in their last 10, but not to be concerned for them because the Braves lost 2 of 3 to the Marlins when they could have really taken advantage of that series. They're now tied with the Padres. Basically, it's basically like a tenth of a percentage point off. So basically, they're tied atop the wild card. And the Diamondbacks, they took 2 of 3 against the Pirates. They won a game in which Paul Skeens pitched today. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. And the Diamondbacks won that series 2-3, which also hurt the Pirates. The Pirates are now 3.5 back in the wild card bin. And then we had the Cardinals and Cubs series. The Cubs took 3 out of 4, which basically, the Cardinals are digging themselves a hole here in the wild card. They're now 3 back in the wild card. They have a series coming up against the Mets, and if they lose this series, I mean, you could basically kiss their playoff chances goodbye at this point. So they've really put themselves in a mess. They lost a game on Thursday in which they were up 4-2 in the 9th inning. Ryan Helsley blew his second save of the season. First time he's given up more than 2 runs all season, and they lose the game and ultimately lose that series. And, things are looking really grim for them. You look at your San Francisco Giants, Ben, a team that, if they didn't lose that first series against the Rockies, what do they look like at this point? Because they're only 4.5 back in the wild card. They just took 2 out of 3 against the Cincinnati Reds. Blake Snell and Logan Webb look like they're back. And
Robbie Ray's pitching great.
Robbie Ray was terrible today. I know
Yeah,
the numbers don't really say it, but dude, he was all over the place, dog.
For coming back from being out, a season and a half? Like, he's looking great. I know today wasn't his best start, but
His last start
I'm
got
happy
shelled.
with Robbie Ray.
His last start, His last start, he got shelled by the A's, and then this start, he was effectively wild.
He didn't get shelled.
Yeah, he did. He gave up like 5 or 6
What
runs.
his numbers on that? I'm pulling up his numbers right now.
He got shelled. He has like a 4.9 ERA or something, 4.7 ERA, and he didn't give up any runs against the Dodgers. So, I mean, he definitely gave up a ton of runs to the A's. I think he only pitched like 2 innings, maybe 3.
Let's see. He pitched 4 1/3 to the A's and gave up 4.
So,
granted, not great.
Yeah, not great. 1 run
So
per inning.
first 2 games, 9 1/3 with 5 runs.
And then today
he had 1 run against
5 and gave up 2. And I'll say this, he was effectively wild. Like, he could not throw a strike to save his fucking life in this game. Like, he had more 3-2 counts than I think. He had like 7 straight 3-2 counts. But he was like so wild that like the Reds didn't know like what to fucking do. It was
I still had 9 strikeouts.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was the strangest shit I've ever seen, dude. He had like 5 consecutive 3-2 counts, dude. Like, he was just throwing the ball all over the fucking place. And those games happen. Tristan McKenzie had a start earlier this year where he was effectively wild against the Twins. Sometimes those starts happen, but Robbie Ray, like, if you look at the numbers and you look at the 9 strikeouts, 5 innings, 2 runs, you're like, oh yeah, he had a good start. But if you actually watch the game, you're like, dude, how the fuck did he not give up more than 2 runs, dude? Like, it makes no fucking sense. It was some insane. I've never seen anything like it. It was like Jack Flaherty last night against the A's, dude. The A's had bases loaded twice with 1 or less outs and didn't score a single run. They went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position last night. 0 for 8, dude. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's going to be pitching against Detroit next, this Friday. And
Robbie
then,
Ray?
Yep.
Is it at Detroit?
No, in San Francisco.
Okay.
And then versus Atlanta in San Francisco is going to be his next. And then Chicago, the White Sox. So his next 3 starts should be... Atlanta's going to be difficult. Detroit could be difficult, but I don't think so.
Well, the Giants have, they're only 4.5 back. I mean, they got a lot of teams to hop over, but
They got one of the easiest schedules remaining, so...
Yeah. The Cardinals,
but they have to win games.
Yeah. The Cardinals suck. I think the Pirates are kind of like... they can't afford to lose Paul Skeens games. So like any game they lose that Paul Skeens starts is just like basically might as well chalk up 2 losses for them. Um, and I know the Diamondbacks are like the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in baseball. So like they just happened to run into them 2 series in a row where they were just like scorching hot, which is unfortunate for them. But I just think ultimately like the Pirates just they don't have enough.
Yeah.
And when you lose, and when you lose a Paul Skeens start, you basically lose. I mean, you might as well lose 2 games. So I
And
think
it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because he's got to be placed on pitching restrictions eventually.
I would
They'd be
think
stupid to let him pitch the full season.
I would think so once they're like out of it. You know what I mean? But they're not like out of it yet. They're still 3.5 back with 2 months basically to play. So if let's say in a week or 2 they're like 7 back, I think they start to. I mean, if I was the Pirates, I would start to look to shut him down and just look forward to next year.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like the Pirates made moves to bolster their fucking lineup, and they traded for IKF, they traded for Brian De La Cruz. So, you know, well, both those guys are under club control, but I would think that they owe it to the club to like make a run at it. And Paul Skeens obviously gives you your best chance to win. So I don't know the dynamic of the locker room. Like I'm not in there. And so I don't know what the front office is really thinking, but I do think that you're right. If they're out of it, they need to seriously consider it because there's no reason to like waste him, in a lost season. Like just let's bring it back next year and fucking run it back.
Yeah.
But I do
Well,
think
it's going to be difficult for them because look at these next 4 series. 3 against San Diego, then they travel to LA and play 3 against the Dodgers, then play 3 in San Diego. So they have 6 games against San Diego coming up. And then they play Seattle for 3 games.
yeah, they got a tough schedule. And Seattle's playing good ball right
Yeah, it's going to be a tough 2 weeks. Then they get a little bit more of a breather with Texas, Cincinnati, and the Cubbies. Then you've got Cleveland for a 3-game set in Cleveland, go into Chicago, Washington, Miami. Not going to be too difficult. But then you end with St. Louis, Milwaukee, and New York.
now. Yeah.
It's a hard couple weeks, and then it's a tough end of the season.
Yeah, it's they definitely have a tough schedule, dude. They have a very tough schedule, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. It's a pretty good ball club though. I definitely like if you gave me the Cardinals or the Pirates, I would say the Pirates have a better chance of winning because the Cardinals, I mean, they have a really good bullpen, like they're back into their bullpen. And then they got like some good players in their lineup. Like they got Mason Wynn, they got fucking Tommy Pham, Lars Nootbaar, and Alec Burleson, and then Nolan Gorman whenever they play him. But like that lineup is just like they cannot string together fucking hits, dude. Like Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado in the middle of that lineup is basically like outs, dude. Like they pop up or they fucking strike out like basically fucking every at bat. And I don't know if they can score enough runs against good teams. It's like, and then they have the series against the Mets, Ben. And like I said, if they lose 2 out of 3 against the Mets, I mean, you could basically pack their season up, dude. Like they're basically it's done. And I felt that way with this Cubs series. I was like, bro, they have to win the series to like keep themselves in the race. And they fucking lost 3 out of 4, and now they're sitting here, fucking 3 games back, and they're minus 42 run differential, dude. They have one of the worst run differentials in the NL, but they're sitting here, fucking, 2 games back, and they've only scored 468 runs.
Yep.
I mean, the team is just they're not that good of a baseball team, and good luck to them.
Yep.
Pretty
much.
Good luck to them.
AARP called. They need their players back.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the fact that like they keep trotting out Goldschmidt out there in like the middle of the lineup is just it's mind-boggling to me, dude. Like he's having the worst year of his career. Bat speed's down, like everything is down across the board, and like they keep trotting him out there, third or fourth in the lineup every fucking day. And Arenado too, dude. Arenado's having a dog shit year too, and they keep trotting him out third or fourth every fucking day. And it's like, dude, you can't have the middle of your lineup be that bad, dude, and that inconsistent, and think that your offense is gonna be consistent. And then Marmol's got fucking Nolan Gorman in the fucking doghouse for some reason. The Cardinals are. I mean, the Cardinals are just. They're
Why isn't he playing?
I don't fucking
We don't know,
dude. Carlos Marmol is a fucking idiot, dude. He's one of the worst managers in baseball. We knew that last year. I mean, dude, they let Tyler O'Neill walk, and Tyler O'Neill would be like their best player this year if he was still on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck them. The Orioles versus Guardians series. I'm not gonna lie, Ben. The first two games when the Orioles lost and the way they lost, I mean, they got fucking basically annihilated. I was like, man, I could very well see a scenario where the Orioles miss the playoffs. The way they've been playing baseball. But
miss the playoffs is a stretch.
I don't think it's necessarily a stretch after those first two games. Like in considering the way they played in the month of July, right? They were terrible, and
yeah,
but I do think that calling up Jackson Holiday and calling up Colby Mayo was the right move, because now you got this influx of energy from these young guys, and it's starting to show and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah.
And then you traded for guys like Eloy, he was having a terrible year, but now he's
had a terrible couple years. So
now he seems to be rejuvenated because he's on like this team that has a chance to like do something. And like I said, he's batting like 800 since he's been playing with the Orioles. So, I'm very curious as to the end of the Orioles season, because I still think their starting rotation has a lot of question marks. But Eflin's he was good in his two starts for the Orioles, and then obviously you got Burns, and then if Grayson can be that guy that he was at the end of last year, I mean, then you got a real fucking shot in the playoffs, especially with that lineup. And Adley Rutschman was like terrible in the month of July. He was like fucking batting 168, but he was hot. I mean, he hit 5 out of his last 8 at bats. He's gotten a fucking hit, and more importantly, he's driving the ball into the gaps. Gunnar Henderson had a 4-for-5 day today. So seeing those guys kind of get themselves out of the slumps that they were in, I think that's fucking massive for the Orioles. Especially when you add in what Jackson Holiday's doing and Eloy's doing. Like, now you're adding a ton of depth to that lineup. I mean, what they did at Cleveland this week, the last 2 games, is impressive, because Cleveland has the best pitching staff in baseball, bullpen for sure. So with all that being said, I'm excited to see where the Orioles go. What's your thoughts on the Guardians, Ben? Obviously they came into the series. They still have technically the best record in baseball. They're tied for the most wins, but they only have 44 losses. What's your thoughts on the Guardians? Can they sustain this, dude? Especially with their rotation.
I mean, we've been saying that this whole season, though. We've been questioning, like, okay, when is this gonna, fall apart? When is this gonna fall apart? And it hasn't fallen apart.
But they have been playing worse since the All-Star break.
It has been. But you look at the schedule that they've faced, and it's a lot more difficult than the first half of the season for them. So, it's, yes, they're not playing at that level, but I mean, I think the biggest thing too is their home play, is that they are absolutely dominant at home. 35-17, and they've got 7 more games on the road than they do at home. So they have a lot more. I think it was 29 more games at home versus 22 on the road. So if you can use that to kind of bolster up the end of the regular season to get in one of the top places, top positions, so they don't have to play for a couple games in that wild card series.
How many of those home wins though are against the fucking White Sox and Tigers?
That's a good point there.
I I feel like the AL Central, dude, like we gotta put like an asterisk next to like some of the shit they do. Like, cause I mean, it's like the Royals, dude. Like every time I turn around, the Royals are playing the fucking White Sox or the Tigers, dude. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, let's see. They have who do they have left? On their schedule, they have left. So they have Arizona for 3, Minnesota for 4,
I think the
Chicago Cubs, Milwaukee Brewers, New York Yankees, Texas, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, the Dodgers,
damn,
3 against Chicago. So they only have 3. So they played 10 against Chicago.
so they have a tough schedule coming up.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, 4 against Tampa Bay, 4 against Minnesota, 3 against St. Louis, 2 Cincinnati, and 3 Houston. Oh,
Bless you.
fuck. So yeah, they've got their second half of the season, which is kind of what we expected with such an easy first half and such an easy like first month and a half of the season. So
Yeah.
this I think will tell us where they really rank among top level teams. But I
And
still have them as one of the best teams in baseball
yeah.
at this moment in the league.
Yeah, I agree. And this is dangerous territory for a lot of these teams now too. And I was texting you earlier about this because this is where we see a lot of these young teams that are building for next year. They kind of like bring their young guys up and they start to build towards next year. And we've seen year after year after year after year after year teams that do well in the final 2 months of the season tend to get that kickstart in the next season. And I feel like we have a handful of these teams this year. Like, I would even say the Rays are one of those candidates, too, because the Rays traded for a lot of young guys. They're calling up a lot of their young guys. We know the starting pitching that they're getting back next year, Ben. And they even got Jeffrey Springs back for this year, so we'll see how he pitches the remainder of the season. I think they might even get McClanahan back at some point, maybe. I don't know if they're going to do it if they don't really have a chance, but we'll see. But teams like these young teams, you really don't want to face them. I mean, ask the Braves, dude. The Braves just lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, who have nothing to play for, right? And they were at home.
And I think I think talking about this, I think we have 10 teams at this point where they're pretty far off.
Well,
I think Tampa Bay is the closest.
I think teams that are far off, like the Toronto Blue Jays, like that's not a team that I really want to back because that's like a team of veterans. So they're more like looking forward to their to Cancun in the offseason. Whereas like,
well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like they might be bringing in players though. They might be bringing in more young guys to get some opportunities.
The Blue Jays don't really have a lot of young guys.
They don't.
And they've basically already called them up. But like that's a team that I have no interest in backing because like they are who they are. And I don't know if that's and same with the Angels. I think the Angels are very similar. Although the Angels have like a lot of young guys in the sense where they have like Zach Neto, Nolan Shanuel, Joe Adele, Ben Joyce, who just threw a 105-mile-an-hour pitch last night. They have young guys in the sense of that, but I mean, for the most part, like those guys are in their lineup. They're going to be in their lineup next year. You know what I mean? But like, it's teams where like you're getting new, fresh talent coming up that's never played in the big leagues. That's getting their big league shoes wet, and they want to prove them to themselves, right? The Washington Nationals, calling up James Wood, stuff like that. The Marlins basically calling up fucking everyone because they have nobody else left on that roster if they trade everybody. Like those are teams you really don't want to be cautious of going forward if you're betting against them. Like you want to be very cautious because they have a lot of talent that you have no idea of unless you watch minor league baseball or have any sense of prospects and stuff. So that you can gain an edge on the market in that kind of sense. But also it's tough to handicap because there's no data really.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'd put that at like the Chicago White Sox. Oakland's probably going to be calling up a lot of young guys. I mean, I think you could still put the Angels in there. Um, I'd
Yeah,
say Texas bringing up young guys.
but Texas has
Um,
that. They have that World Series hangover, and basically majority of that roster won a World Series last year, and they know they're not getting back. I feel like they might check out. I felt like they checked out
yeah, that's
today,
why.
dude.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that we'll get a bunch of young guys coming up
But that
and
but the thing
fighting for
is,
some roster spots next year.
but that's the thing is like their roster next year going forward, like it's set, dude. Like, you know, they have Seager, they have Semien, they have Wyatt Langford, Josh Young just came back this week. You know, he's going to be in their lineup next year. I mean, majority Adolis Garcia, majority of their lineup set. Like, you know, he's going to
Yeah,
be on that team. You're not
yeah,
calling up guys to
or
fight
you
for their
use it.
spots.
Yeah, or you use it for trade bait. That you want to get these guys that opportunity so they can utilize them as prospects that they want for the future
Yeah, but if they
or
play
to
good,
trade for.
then they're not going to want to trade them.
Hmm.
Those see, that's the thing is like that's the difference. So those kind of teams like Texas, those are the teams that check out once they're out of it because they're veterans. They've been there. They're ready for vacation. You know what I mean? And a lot of their, you know, they had a lot of injuries too, which has
Yeah,
really hindered their. And same with the Rays, but the Rays got rid of all their veterans, and now they have all
yeah,
young guys that are fighting for roster positions. Like that's a team that is dangerous in that sense.
hmm.
Um, you know the Tigers they're like a middle of the pack team where I don't know because they got a lot of young guys, but I mean who's taking roster spots next year? But they don't really. But that team just that team just fucking good luck betting on them if you decide to.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah. I
Rockies.
think
The Rockies are another
what's
team.
that?
The Rockies are another team, Ben, where like they have their roster for next year. They
Yeah,
might be
they
checked
didn't
out
really trade away anybody.
at all. Yeah, they might be checked out,
Uh,
and they play
They've
like
been
shit
checked
on the
out all
road.
fucking year, but
I mean, I feel like they have like 10 game stretches where they look like, damn, this team could be a playoff team, and then they fucking have like 20 games where it's like, hold on, what happened to that team from the last 10 games, dude? It's like, dude,
yeah,
they put up like 25 against fucking the Red Sox in one game, and then they didn't score 25 for the next 8 days straight combined.
yeah,
It's like, dude,
yeah. You're no wrong there.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
I still think
Um,
you're gonna get a lot of young guys coming in and playing in those games.
yeah, you're gonna get young guys coming in and playing, but for the most part, for teams that are like established though, you're not getting like the level of talent of young guys of like that's like the Marlins do. Like the Marlins are calling up like all their top prospects, the Rays too, because they don't have anyone to field a team. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Whereas like the Rangers, yeah, they might call up some guys, but they're not top prospects because all their top guys are already on the fucking roster, and they've
yeah, but they still want to get their top prospects playing time. They want to get them up to that big league level. So if they do have to call
but
upon
they're
them
but
in
they're
case of
like
an injury,
they're like top prospects, so are like already on the big league club.
well, yeah, but you still have top prospects in the league. Like
All their like
you still they're going to move into their top prospects list because their tops are in the league.
all their top prospects are in like A and double A ball. They're like mid level prospects are like in triple A, but those are guys that are like they're not gonna take a roster spot. They're not taking Semien's roster spot, dude. They're not taking Corey Seagers. They're not taking Nathaniel Lowe's. They're not taking Adolis
Yeah, but
Garcia's.
what
They're not
happened if
taking
Corey
Wyatt
Seager
Langford.
gets injured? Who are they?
Right.
They're gonna need to put
But
somebody in there.
but they're not gonna just like bench these guys to call up some fucking, you know, 1,000th ranked prospect in the
Well, okay,
league.
1,000th ranked prospect. That's a little much.
Who are they gonna
Come on.
who are they gonna because Ben, you gotta understand, dude, you gotta put guys on 40-man roster, and to put a guy on a 40-man roster, that means you have to take somebody off. And if you take somebody off, that means you have to DFA them
When does the roster spots when do they up those?
at the end of August, but you only get 2 roster spots now.
So like two roster spots and like two pitching?
No, you only get 2 total. It expands to 27 roster spots. It used to expand to 40. You used to be able to
Yeah.
call up your entire 40-man roster, but now you can't.
That does change things a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of that teams like the Rangers, the Rockies, the Tigers, the Blue Jays, the Angels, like you're not going to get an influx of young talent onto those teams because those teams are already constructed for next season. So those are the players that you're going to get for next season. Now the A's, they're kind of in the middle of that pack because you got guys like Lawrence Butler, right, who was not projected to really be anything, but he's been having a stellar fucking second half of the year and he's kind of solidifying himself. So he wants to carry that over to like really solidify his position for next year.
Mm-hmm.
You got guys like Jacob Wilson who are going to come back from injury at some point. You got young guys in that sense. And then you got guys like Schumann who are fighting just to make the roster next year because he's not a high level prospect, but he's having a decent year. So it's like he wants to show the club like, hey, I could play every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things you want to figure out. And then obviously you want to back the teams that are really good because they're fighting for a fucking playoff spot when they have to fucking win.
They have to win, yeah.
And the Cubs are another team that could fall into that category like the fucking Rangers, Ben, where like they have a ton of fucking vets, dude, and like if they fall out of a playoff spot completely, which they're almost there, they might just fucking completely fucking fold.
Yep.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, not wrong.
That's why you kind of got to monitor how they're like playing and shit. Like the Reds fucking suck, dude. That's a team, they got their roster for next year. You know what I mean? And that team just fucking that's a bad ball club out there in Cincinnati right now. Injuries aside.
Who are going to be our top free agents for next year?
Well, Blake Snell is probably going to be number one when he opts out of his fucking deal after throwing the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Matt Hoffman's got hot, so he might fucking opt out of his deal too, which actually might be a blessing in disguise for the Giants.
Who's that?
Matt Chapman. Did I say Matt Hoffman?
Oh, yeah, you said Hoffman, yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, he has not been quite what we expected.
But he's been good in the he's been
top.
Getting hot though.
He's been what?
He's been getting hot though.
Yeah. All right, we've got fucking Scherzer, Verlander, Garrett Cole, Juan Soto,
Garrett Cole's a free agent
Blake
next year?
Snell. Yep.
No fuck.
He has an opt-out. He has an opt-out.
He's definitely not opting out. Not after coming off that.
36 million. Yeah.
Yeah, he's opting. He's opting
Blake Snell, 38.5 million.
Yeah, Blake Snell might
Cody
opt
Bellinger.
out. Bellinger